Did you know that most of your mood at 8 p.m. was actually determined before 8 a.m.? That means the meeting that frustrated you in the afternoon, the text message that upset you in the evening, or the work pressure that stressed you throughout the day may not be the real cause. The real cause may have appeared within the very first minutes after you opened your eyes. This is not about motivation or positive thinking. This is neuroscience. Researchers have discovered that during the first 30 minutes after waking up, the brain enters a unique state that scientists call the morning priming window. During this brief period, your brain is more sensitive to incoming signals than at any other time of the day. And surprisingly, most people are unintentionally ruining this valuable window. If you're finding this content useful, take a second to like the video. It helps more people gain access to scientific insights that can genuinely improve their daily lives. Now imagine two people waking up at exactly the same time. They live in the same city. They do the same job. They face similar pressures and challenges. Yet by the end of the day, one person still feels positive, calm, and energized, while the other feels exhausted, irritable, and unmotivated. What creates the difference? Not money, not luck, not circumstances. The difference lies in what happens during the first moments after they wake up. What's fascinating is that the happiest people in the world don't perform complicated morning rituals. They don't spend hours meditating. They don't read dozens of pages every morning. They don't run miles before breakfast. Instead, they do a few incredibly ordinary things. The difference is that they do them during the exact period when the brain is most capable of receiving and rewiring itself. And among these 5 habits, there is one that takes less than a minute. It's not exercise. It's not journaling. It's not meditation. Yet its impact on happiness has astonished researchers. Over the next few minutes, you'll discover the 5 things the happiest people consistently do every morning, the science behind each habit, and how you can start applying them tomorrow morning to transform the quality of your entire day. The first habit of the happiest people sounds so simple that many people overlook it. But if you only apply one thing from this video starting tomorrow, make it this one. They do not touch their phones immediately after waking up. It sounds ordinary. But what happens inside the brain during that time is anything but ordinary. In the first few minutes after opening your eyes, your brain is still transitioning from sleep to wakefulness. During this period, the regions responsible for logical thinking and emotional regulation are not yet fully online. Meanwhile, the brain's threat detection system becomes especially sensitive. In other words, during this short window, your brain is more emotionally vulnerable than at any other time of the day. And that's exactly when most people do something incredibly risky. They pick up their phone. A work message, a negative news headline, a stressful email, a social media post that triggers comparison. Just one of these signals can push the brain into a state of stress before the day has truly begun. The frightening part is that most people never realize it. They think they simply woke up in a bad mood. But in reality, that mood may have been triggered by what they saw on their screen. If you've ever had a morning where you woke up feeling tired, anxious, or unmotivated, try to remember the very first thing you looked at. The answer might surprise you. If you're realizing that you also check your phone immediately after waking up, leave a comment saying, "I'll try tomorrow." Sometimes, a small change like this can create a much bigger difference than you would expect. Researchers have found that people who check their phones during the first few minutes after waking experience significantly higher stress levels for hours afterward, even when the content they view is not negative. The problem is not just the information itself. The problem is that the brain is being pulled out of its natural state too early. So what do happy people do instead? They protect the first moments of the day as if they were protecting something valuable, because they understand that if they allow the outside world into their minds too soon, they lose the opportunity to establish their own emotional state first. But this is only the beginning. What they do next within the first 15 minutes after waking is what truly activates the brain's happiness chemistry. What's interesting is that the happiest people don't start their day with motivation. They start it with light. That may sound strange, but there is a reason our ancestors woke up with the sun for thousands of years. And there is also a reason why millions of modern people feel sluggish, low on energy, and unmotivated from the very beginning of the day. Your brain doesn't actually know what time it is. It only knows one thing: light. The moment natural light reaches your eyes in the morning, a small control center deep inside your brain receives a signal that a new day has begun. From that moment, a series of biological processes is activated. Serotonin begins to rise. Dopamine is regulated into its proper rhythm. Your biological clock is reset. Your entire emotional system is brought into a more optimal state. But this is the mistake most people make. They wake up, turn on the lights, stay indoors, and spend hours under artificial lighting. To your brain, that's like trying to start a car without putting the key into the ignition. The system still runs, but it never reaches peak performance. You've probably experienced this before. You got enough sleep. You didn't stay up late. You weren't overworked. Yet by 9 or 10, 0 inches the morning, you still felt strangely tired. Sometimes the problem isn't sleep. Sometimes the problem is that your brain never received the light signal it needed to properly start the day. If you're thinking about someone who constantly complains about having no energy in the morning, share this video with them. What they may need isn't another cup of coffee. They may simply need more light. Neuroscientists have discovered that just a brief exposure to natural light shortly after waking can trigger a chain of reactions that lasts throughout the entire day. What's remarkable is that the effect doesn't stop in the morning. It also influences the quality of your sleep later that night. In other words, morning light doesn't just determine how you wake up, it also influences how you fall asleep. And this is something happy people do naturally. They step outside. No workout required. No complicated routine. They simply allow their eyes to be exposed to the sky. But even light is not the most powerful factor, because shortly afterward, they perform an action that takes only a few minutes, yet has the ability to influence their brain state for many hours. And this is when the brain begins producing something scientists often describe as fertilizer for brain cells. Most people believe happiness starts with thinking, but neuroscience suggests the opposite. The body changes first, then the mind follows. That's why the happiest people move their bodies before they begin overthinking their day. No gym membership required. No 10-kilometer run, just a few minutes of movement that raises the heart rate above normal. When that happens, the brain releases a remarkable substance called BDNF. It acts like fertilizer for your neurons. BDNF helps the brain learn faster, adapt more effectively, and become more receptive to positive experiences. That's why just a few minutes of movement in the morning can create benefits that last for hours afterward. But surprisingly, movement is still not the final piece of the puzzle, because human beings were not designed to live alone. The happiest people tend to practice one small habit before diving into work. They connect with someone, a thank you message, a quick check-in, a simple good morning text, just a few seconds. Yet those brief moments trigger oxytocin, the chemical associated with connection, trust, and belonging. If you've made it this far, think about someone who has helped you in your life. After watching this video, send them a sincere thank you message. You may be surprised by how it makes you feel. And finally, this is the most important habit of all. What truly separates happy people isn't that they have better days. It's that they decide who they want to be before the day begins. Before the world throws stress, news, responsibilities, and hundreds of demands at them, they take a few moments to ask themselves a simple question. Who do I want to be today? More calm? More grateful? More patient? More positive? It's a simple question, but it's like setting the rudder of a ship before leaving the harbor. And perhaps that is the greatest secret of happiness. Happiness is not something you find at the end of the day. It is something you quietly create during the first moments of the morning.